This is the AVerMedia Live Streamer Mic 350. Well, actually, it's just the empty box. I've already unboxed this thing. Magic. But during the unboxing, we discovered that in the box, you get some documentation, the Live Streamer Mic 350 with attached bracket to either hook up to a microphone arm or a stand, the base for that stand, a USB-C to USB-A cable, a USB-A to USB-C adapter, and a mic thread adapter. But that's not all AVerMedia gave us. They gave us some accessories. There's a shock mount and a pop filter. But unfortunately, they gave me the wrong pop filter. So you can see here the top of this mic. You don't speak into the top of this mic, but this pop filter is designed to do just that. I believe this is the pop filter for the Live Streamer Mic 330, which is a dynamic microphone, but that's okay. They tried. If we have little pops or anything like that, we know they actually have a pop filter for it. We can excuse that. Looking at the microphone itself, it's actually a really nice design. It's very solid. It is an all metal design. The grill as well. On top, there's this nice little kind of texture to it. I kind of wish that something was here. If it was a capacitive button or something like that. In a weird world, I'd like to have a capacitive gain or something that allows you to do this to turn up the gain. Only because the texture is circular like that, and I like to draw my fingers around like that. So you can see this little divot where the pop filter is supposed to wrap around. So to show you how it would essentially work, you would wrap this kind of red gasket part around first, then put the plastic part around, and then it would have the proper pop filter part. But again, wrong one. I also have to admit that I really like the design of this bracket. It's really stylish just in general, but then to have this little slit down here for cable management is really pretty. Plus, this part actually turns, so you don't have to keep twisting the mic around to screw it into a mic arm or anything like that. You just twist this part. And the first thing you can twist that part onto is this base right here. It's a nice heavy metal base. It's got really good rubber footing on the bottom. It's heavy enough to balance out this. I don't like anything that's too top heavy if you're putting it down on your desk. Not that I actually recommend that anyways. On the mic, when you're looking at the front, you've got dual knobs here. The first one is your microphone gain, and it clicks into mute. And you'll notice a white ring around it. That's actually an LED that'll light up. And then on the bottom, you've got your headphone volume, and you can actually click that in to switch between computer audio and microphone audio. If you look at the bottom, in the middle, you've got your USB-C port, and on the left, you've got your headphone jack for your zero latency monitoring. And on the top, you have a little toggle to switch between omnidirectional and cardioid polar patterns. Now, if we look at that shock mount, it's actually it's again, a very heavy build. It's all metal. You have a twisty screw here as well, so you can easily screw it into your microphone from either side or from both if you're just grabbing both knobs.
That's what she said.
But I question the design of this, and again, I don't know if this might have just been designed for the dynamic microphone, but just the way that this has to sit, it really means that you're going to have to be creative in terms of how you kind of set all this stuff up so it's not taking up too much space in front of your face. But there's no time like the present to put that to the test, so let's take a minute and get this thing set up, and we'll be right back with you. So like, this would probably be an example of a way to not set this thing up. I frankly don't know, just the way my mic arm is oriented and stuff like that, the best way to actually set this up, but this is the least kind of in the way right now, so this is just how we're going to go ahead and do it. The mic's where it needs to be, that's all that really matters. I just took a moment to actually redo the way that this was plugged in and set up, so now you can actually see that the cables run down into here. And this is probably the cleanest cable management on any microphone. Most microphones tend to just rely on the actual mic arm or stand or whatever to be where you run your cables down and just kind of strap them in, or however your arm works. But overall, if this shock mount is actually meant to be with this microphone, I'd say it's a little bit overdone. I would rather see something that either came around this and strapped in proper there, maybe with a little opening in the front so I'd still have clear access to both knobs.
That's what she said.
But not the end of the world. This is not what we're here testing. This is. So I can see by my levels that I'm actually picking up room noise right now, but that's okay because it's a condenser microphone. It's not unexpected. We're currently in the cardioid polar pattern, but let's just switch it over to the omnidirectional to see what kind of a difference that makes. Okay, I heard more come into my ear the second I made the switch. Looks like I'm getting about another 5 decibels worth of noise. And then here we got the mic gain. I'm going to play with the range a little bit, so if I turn it up really, really loud, arguably too loud, I don't want to talk and blow everybody's heads off. So I'm going to go and taking it all the way down. So the knob's an endless knob. There's no end on either side, so you have to just kind of keep turning until you get it to where you want it. And if I press it in right now, but then we unmute because I can't deny you this. Okay, so now I'm going to run our usual test phrases, and we're going to just kind of get our first impressions of this microphone. The small pup, not a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and sew a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. Hey, have you joined my Discord yet? The link's down below in the description. Okay, so I'm going to go give this a listen. I'll be right back with you to tell you what I think. Okay, so aside from the room noise, it actually sounded really good. It was a huge leap from the AM310 that I reviewed some time ago. And of course, we're going to do the usual processing tests. I am a predictable human being, but I'm going to give it a little twist because this thing has a little secret weapon that might give that processing a run for its money. And it's this. This is the AVerMedia VibeEngine. It's not only just a processing system for the microphone, but it's also a complete mixer system. AVerMedia has joined the fray. So from here, there's a lot you can do. You can actually see you've got your creator mix here, and then you've got your actual monitoring mix. So right now I have that monitoring going directly to the headphones that are attached to the microphone. But if you actually click the plus sign here, you can actually add a new mix, and that's actually going to give you a whole brand new setup to be able to do. So right here, you can see I've got the AM350 and I've got the system again. We've got it twice, but I can actually unlink these and then I can do them separately. So now I can actually send different things to different mixes. It's not the simplest version of a submix that you can get, but it works. Then another interesting thing under here, you can actually click on VST effects, and then you can see there's a bunch of options over here. These are all in the menus that are down there, so we're going to give those a look in a minute. But you can also turn mixer mode off, and it just removes all of this stuff, and it just gives you access to these controls over here for the microphone. So the first thing we can look at is scenario. It sets up and you have just your regular chat microphone. Then you have your podcast microphone. I guess this is probably changing a little bit of EQ for you. This is probably adding a little bass. The singing, probably going to add a little bit of presence. And instrument, which I am an instrument of doom, but aside from that, I don't think that this is the one for me. And you can also turn any of these settings on and off just by clicking the toggle here. And now it takes all of that away. It just goes back to kind of the basic microphone. Now, if we go into noise reduction, this is going to be the big one. So here we have echo cancellation. And this is like if you're in a really unsound treated room, you got empty walls, you've got hard floors, all those kind of things. You're going to get a little bit of reverb coming back into the microphone and you don't want that. So you can click on that right there. I've got carpet and stuff and I have things kind of between me and the walls, so I don't really have that big of a problem. But then we've got our noise suppression, so we're going to turn that on. So let's give it just a little bit of listen. And now I'm going to turn it on. And it just takes it right away. But what's really interesting is you'll see down here, NVIDIA noise removal is also available. So I have an RTX graphics card. So all I need to do is download this effects SDK and then I can use NVIDIA's noise removal. But I'm actually really happy with the noise removal that I'm seeing right now, at least according to the levels. And because not everybody's got an RTX graphics card, let's just keep the test going like this. Then if you go across here, you've actually got a noise gate. A noise gate is pretty pointless if you're using noise reduction, unless you're just trying to get little taps and things like that away. So if we turn that on though, we've got the very simple open threshold one here, and if you open it up here, you've got your open close, you've got your tact time and all those different things. So whenever it's in the gray, you can see that that's a time when the actual noise gate would be doing its work. So you just want to find that right space, so you'd be able to bring it reasonably down without any kind of problem. Then if we go over here, this is our de-esser. So when you don't have a pop filter on or some kind of a windscreen, you do risk having a little bit of sibilance in there. The test phrases that I did, there wasn't really that much of a problem, but I'm also not speaking directly into the mic. I'm speaking just kind of out on an angle. That's on purpose. But then you have all of your settings here to perfect that. Now, if you go into voice effects, you're going to get a bunch of different options again. So the first one is you have some effects here. You can turn it on and then mess around
with your pitch, so you need a pitch.
This is all manual control versions of these things. Then you have your echo, which you're hearing this whole time, so I can take it down. If I just want to mess with the pitch and not have echo, I can turn that off. Or I can turn it up an awful lot. Then you can amplify the effects down here. Shut those off. Then we've got reverb, so we turn the reverb on. It's just another echo, but it's a little bit more stylized. You can see kind of with room size, damp, wet, dry, all these different things just to kind of create a really specific sound. So you can see right now I'm in this size of a room. If I go bigger, then it's a much bigger reverb. And if I go down, it's going to be very small. You're just going to hear these really quick little things. Now we have our compressor, so you've got your threshold here, attack time, release time, output gain. I don't like that it doesn't have a compression ratio. I like to be able to set it to a 4:1 compression ratio unless they're doing that automatically. That's possible. And then you've got a limiter here, and then you can basically do the same things to make sure that you just don't go too high. It'll make sure to keep it down below the threshold for you. And last, you've got your EQ, and then if you turn that on, you've got a bunch of presets here, and if you open those up, and then you can choose between all of them. So there's like a deep bass boost. It's brighter and bassy, so this is going to be more your California smile. It's upping the lower and the higher frequencies. Mid-range boost, that's bringing up all the kind of stuff that would be considered muddy. And if you go into advanced, you got what? 15 band EQ, that's pretty good. So you can see what the presence looks like. So now if we go through some of these, you can see kind of what they're doing as you go through them. These seem all really extreme to me. I'm a little bit more subtle when it comes to some of these things. I'm looking at like around that. There, that's a little bit more my speed anyways. Now if you go to the next bit, this is your voice changer. When you first set this up, you're going to notice that you're going to only have access to man, woman, and robot. And then if you turn this on, all of these other ones are going to have locks on it. You have to log in with an AVerMedia account to actually unlock all of those and get access to them. But hey, let's have a little bit of fun right now and test them out.
I always feel really bad when I hear what a man is supposed to sound like according to a voice changer compared to what my actual voice sounds like.
So once again, this is me, technically a man.
But this is what a real man sounds like.
And then this is what a woman sounds like. It's just a pitch change, so obviously it's not going to be super duper accurate, but it's pretty cool.
And now here's your robot. You know, I am the modern man. Secret, I got a secret.
Now I'm a baby. That creeped you out as much as it creeped me out. And then, okay, I'm a cartoon duck, so we're just dealing with being a cartoon duck now, and that's fine.
And now, we're a monster. So if you want to punish your kids, bring them to me now. I'll be like, "Ah."
Now this is an alien. This is proof that aliens exist because we know what they sound like. This is the sound. And this is a childlike voice, which to me is a very bad prank call voice. I know I'm not listening to it right now. I don't have headphones on, but I did hear it before.
Then the bass killer? I don't necessarily know what that means. Do I kill bassists? I don't think so.
And an electronic sound is a little bit less than the robot. This is probably more of what we would call Kanye West album voice. This is and then this is a trembling sound. This is what I should sound like with the temperatures being what they are outside, but I'm Canadian, I'm tough. And then the last thing here, just some basic controls. These are actually all the things that you can control on your physical microphone yourself. So if I'm changing with the mic voice, you'll see it changes with me. And when I'm headphone monitoring, I can change those as well, just on the knobs. And then the polar pattern at the bottom here, I can change that. So right now I'm on cardioid, omnidirectional, cardioid, and then we've got this clipping shield, so it tells you what it does. It's the auto gain function, can automatically detect the sound source to avoid the volume being suddenly high and low. So that seems like another good thing to have on, so I'm going to just have that on. So now I can't talk too loud, according to this, and you can't see it right now, but I actually have the levels for just the regular mic raw audio going through, as well as what's coming out of this mixer, and it's totally blowing up right now in the raw audio, but it's completely fine on the mixer output. Okay, so what I think we're going to do is we're actually going to record that test audio again now that we've got it all set up through the VibeEngine, and then we're going to compare that to the processing that we do through OBS and through DaVinci Resolve. The small pup, not a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and saw a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. The small pup, not a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and saw a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. Hey, have you joined my Discord yet? The link's down below in the description. The small pup, not a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and saw a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. Hey, have you joined my Discord yet? The link's down below in the description. The small pup, not a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and saw a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. Hey, have you joined my Discord yet? The link's down below in the description. Okay, so all things being equal, I probably would have avoided their AI noise reduction, or I would have had to spend a lot more time tweaking it to get it just so, because if my voice got a little bit too low, I was real quick to get dropped off. Or I would have spent the time to download the stuff to get the NVIDIA noise removal working, because that's something I know that works. But VibeEngine has a lot of really cool features in it. You've got your voice changing stuff and all that other kind of stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff to play with in there. You need a better way to control it. I don't know if their controller allows to be able to control the voices and things like that. I don't think that they have any kind of a plug-in for Stream Deck or Loop Deck, but if they did, you'd be in really good shape with this mic. So the AVerMedia Live Streamer 350 retails for $179.99 US, and that's just on its own without the shock mount or pop filter. I think that for the price, they're delivering a lot of tools when you can actually have this compatible with VibeEngine, and given where they came from between the AM310, then the Live Streamer 330, the dynamic microphone, which comparatively, it's kind of a similar look, but the AM330 kind of looks like a toy compared to this one. This one looks a lot more pro, in this man's humble opinion. So this is the part in the video that I shot a while ago where I re-interject myself so we can enter the review matrix. So let's talk about design first. Overall, the microphone's really beautiful. I especially like how the mount is designed, very sleek, and it's really functional for cable management. The black against that chrome red is really nice, and everything on the microphone is where you would want it to be. Just a couple comments on the actual accessories, although I'm not going to count that against the score for the overall microphone. The design for the pop filter, where you can put the mount for it in that little bevel in the microphone and then actually just have the beast pop up, that was pretty cool. But I really don't like the tiny little rod and the small screen that they give you for that. It's not really nice looking. And then when you look at the pop filter, really well built, well designed, but I don't like how it's designed to actually mount to the microphone. Looking at pictures of it, I never found a way that I really like to see it be mounted. The one that I saw the most is actually where the shock mount was on top and then the microphone was hanging down from underneath. But seeing as I'm not shooting the music video for Mama Said Knock You Out, I really wasn't interested in that. I want to be able to mount my microphone creatively in a way that I want to be able to do it, and that kind of blocks you from doing that. But removing those and scoring the microphone just on its own merits, I give the design a 9. Functionality, there's a ton of things you can do with the microphone. Again, all the controls that you want are on the microphone itself, which is good, but so much of what you want is sitting in the software itself, and there's no really good way to access it. I haven't been able to confirm whether or not AVerMedia's hardware can actually handle that, but the fact that you can't set up any kind of keyboard shortcuts or any kind of macros that you might be able to set up on any kind of third-party software, I also didn't really like. Because if I'm in the middle of a live stream, I'm not going into the software so I could turn on one of those vocal effects just to have a little bit of fun. I want to be able to hit a button to do that. So for functionality, or I guess for this one, we're scoring it based on lack of access to functionality, I'm going to give it a 7. Features, now all those things I just said I had a hard time accessing if I was in the middle of a live stream, well, it's still a very feature-rich product. You've got full-on mixing, you've got processing, and you've got vocal effects. And I just have to give kudos to AVerMedia for actually improving on their software over the years. So we're going to give features an 8.5. Now quality, out of the box, the microphone sounds pretty decent. And if you put a little bit of processing on it, it sounds that much more decent. But I had a few problems that you probably heard in this video while I was working with the VibeEngine software. When I was going through the settings, I would often get these pops and distortions that weren't a part of any of the audio settings that I was doing. So if the microphone's having a hard time handling that while you're making changes, that's not a good thing. I'd turn a blind eye to it if it was just certain settings, because a lot of the processing and stuff you obviously want to have set up beforehand, in which case you wouldn't have these kinds of problems. But the fact that you have those effects and things that you would turn on and off in the middle of a production is a really bad thing, because you don't want those warbles and stuff showing up when you don't want those warbles to be showing up. So we would rate this a lot higher if it was in terms of just vocal quality, but the fact that these things are a factor, I'm going to give it about a 7.5. And then for value, it's priced just a little bit higher than I would want to see. I would say maybe $30 down would be good. So if you could find this mic on sale, that would be kind of your peak value. And obviously the fact that VibeEngine exists adds to a lot of that value, but there are some cheaper options out there for you that sound just as good, if not better, than this microphone. That's not to say that the Live Streamer 350 has priced itself out of the market in any way. It hasn't. It's just something you have to make a little bit more of a decision on. If the mic appeals to you and you've got the money, then you can go ahead and spend it. It's not like you're being ripped off. So for value, I'm going to give it about an 8. That gives us a total score of 40 out of 50, which is an 80%. Not too shabby. But what do you guys think about the microphone? Well, don't just think it, type it. Go down to the comments and let me know. While you're down there, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications when I got new videos coming out. And we might as well keep it going. No sense in you leaving me now. Why don't you check out one of these videos? Either one of them's good. I like that one. That one's pretty cool. But until next time, my friends, let's get to work.